You call your cat's name. They are 3 feet away. Their ear twitches, and then nothing. They just sit there. So you call again, louder this time, and they slowly turn their head away, almost deliberately, as if they heard you perfectly and decided you were not worth responding to. Most owners laugh it off. That's just cats, they say. They do what they want, and they move on without ever asking the real question. But here is what is actually happening in that moment. And once you understand it, you will never look at that ignored call the same way again. Because your cat is not being rude. They are not being stubborn. They are doing something that reveals far more about your relationship than a response ever could. 1. Your cat hears you perfectly, every single time. Let's start with the biology, because it matters. A cat's hearing is not like yours. They can detect sounds across a frequency range nearly 3 times wider than a human's. They can pinpoint the source of a sound to within a few centimeters from across a room. When your cat's ear rotates toward a sound and then rotates away, that is not confusion. That is processing. That is your cat's auditory system identifying the source, assessing the relevance, and making a decision. A 2013 study published in Animal Cognition tested exactly this. Researchers played recordings of strangers calling cats by name, then played recordings of the cat's own owners calling their names. The cats showed measurable physical responses, ear rotation, head movement, pupil dilation to their own name far more than to strangers' voices. They knew their name. They recognized it. They registered it every time it was called. And in many cases, they chose not to respond. The study's conclusion was striking. Cats are not incapable of responding to their names. They are capable of choosing not to. And that distinction changes everything. Your cat is not ignoring you because they don't understand what you want. They are ignoring you because they understand exactly what you want, and they have decided in this moment to do something else. That is not stubbornness. That is autonomy. And it is one of the most fundamental differences between cats and dogs that almost no one fully grasps. We will get to what that autonomy actually means for your relationship and how to work with it instead of against it later. But first, there is something more important to understand about why they ignore you specifically. 2. The way you say their name matters more than the fact that you say it. Think about how you call your cat. Really think about it. What is the tone? What is the context? What usually happens after you call them? Cats are pattern recognition machines. They do not hear your words. They hear your tone, your rhythm, your energy. And they have been cataloging what follows your call for as long as you have lived together. If you call their name when you are trying to pick them up and move them somewhere they don't want to go, they catalog that. If you call their name when you need to give them medication, they catalog that. If you call their name when you are frustrated and your voice carries even a trace of that frustration, they catalog that too. Over months and years, your cat builds an association with the sound of their name being called. And if that association has even a moderate percentage of unpleasant outcomes, being moved, being grabbed, being bathed, being put in a carrier, their nervous system learns to treat the call as a warning signal rather than an invitation. This is not a personality flaw in your cat. This is their nervous system doing exactly what it was designed to do. Protect them from repeated unpleasant experiences by recognizing the pattern early. And here is the part that most owners find genuinely difficult to hear. You probably call your cat's name far more often in neutral or negative contexts than in genuinely positive ones. Not because you are a bad owner, because that is simply how daily life works. You call them to move them off the counter. You call them when you are worried and need to locate them. You call them because you are frustrated. You call them because you want something from them right now. And occasionally, you call them just to give them something good, a treat, a pet, a moment of warmth. But occasionally is not enough to override months of pattern. Your cat has done the math, and the math says, when that sound happens, there is a reasonable chance something I don't enjoy is coming next. So they wait, they assess, they decide. 3. There is a second reason they ignore you that almost no one talks about, and it has nothing to do with training or association. It has to do with what cats fundamentally are, and what they fundamentally are not. Dogs evolved alongside humans for tens of thousands of years in a very specific role. They worked with us. They took direction from us. Their survival depended on responding when called, on following commands, on being responsive to human social signals. That responsiveness was bred into them generation after generation. Cats were never domesticated in the same way. They were not bred to follow instructions. They were tolerated near human settlements because they hunted rodents. That relationship was mutually beneficial, but it was never hierarchical in the way dogs experienced it. What this means is that a dog who ignores a command is going against deep evolutionary and genetic programming. A cat who ignores a call is doing nothing unusual at all. They are simply being what they are. Expecting a cat to come when called the way a dog does is not a reasonable expectation, not because cats are inferior, but because responsiveness to human commands was never part of their design. What cats do respond to is choice, invitation rather than instruction, a reason to come rather than a command to obey. And understanding that difference, really understanding it, is the beginning of a completely different relationship with your cat, one where they come to you, not because you called, but because they want to, because you have made yourself worth coming to. That shift sounds small. It is not small. It changes everything. 4. The moments your cat does respond tell you something more valuable than the moments they don't. Pay attention to when your cat does come when called. Not every time, but sometimes. Certain times they hear their name and they actually move toward you. What is different about those times? Think carefully. Almost certainly your voice is different. Softer, higher, more open, less urgent. There is something in your tone that signals safety and warmth, rather than need or instruction. Researchers found in follow-up studies that cats were significantly more likely to respond to their names when owners used what the researchers called affiliative tones, the warm, slightly higher-pitched voice that naturally comes out when you are genuinely happy to see your cat and want nothing from them. The cats were not responding to the name itself. They were responding to what the tone told them about what the name meant in that moment. When the tone said, "I see you, I am glad you exist, come be near me," they came. When the tone said, "I need you to do something," or "stop doing something," or "I am mildly frustrated," they stayed where they were. Your cat has been teaching you how to reach them for years. Every time they responded, and every time they didn't, they were giving you data. Most owners just never learn to read it. The cat who ignores you 9 times and comes the 10th, that 10th time is the instruction manual. Study it. What was different? What did your voice sound like? What were you doing? What did they get when they arrived? That 10th time is not luck. That is your cat telling you exactly what they need from you in order to choose connection. 5. Here is how you rebuild the association, and it is simpler than you think. The goal is not to train your cat to come every single time you call. That is a dog goal, and chasing a dog goal with a cat will frustrate you both. The goal is to make your cat's name mean something genuinely good, every single time, without exception, until the pattern in their nervous system shifts. Start with this. For the next 2 weeks, only say your cat's name when you have something to offer them. A treat, a meal, a play session, a moment of warm attention with no agenda behind it. Only call them when calling means something good is coming. Every other time you need to move them, find them, or redirect them, do it without using their name. Use a sound, a gesture, your presence. Reserve their name exclusively for positive moments. This sounds almost too simple. It is not. You are doing something very specific. You are rebuilding a neural association that has been forming for months or years. That takes repetition and it takes consistency, but it works. The second change is your tone. Before you say their name, check your voice. Is it warm? Is it open? Is there genuine pleasure in it? If the answer is no, if you are calling out of frustration or urgency, wait, find the tone first, then call. Your cat does not respond to the word. They respond to the signal inside the word. Get the signal right, and the word becomes a bridge rather than a wall. The third change is what happens when they do come. When your cat responds, even once, even partially, even just an ear rotation and a slow blink in your direction, that moment is everything. Reward it immediately, not with excessive fuss, with genuine warmth, a soft word, a slow blink back, a small treat, something that confirms you were right to come. It was worth it. Over time, and it will take time, because you are working against an established pattern, your cat will begin to recalibrate. Their name will start to carry a different weight. The math will change, and you will notice it in the small moments. An ear that stays forward a little longer, a body that turns more fully in your direction. Eventually, paws that actually move toward you. Not every time. Cats will always exercise their autonomy, but more times, chosen times. Times when they have decided you are worth the walk across the room. 6. There is one more thing, and this one matters more than all the rest. The cat who ignores you is not broken. They are not cold. They are not indifferent to you. They are in a relationship with you that they evaluate constantly, quietly, and honestly. Every time you call them and they don't come, they are not rejecting you. They are being honest about where things stand. They are giving you real information about the current state of the association between your call and their experience of what follows it. That honesty is not cruelty. That honesty is one of the things that makes cats extraordinary. They do not perform connection. They do not feel. They do not come running because it is expected of them. They come when they have a genuine reason to. And when a cat who has learned to be cautious about your call starts coming toward you, slowly, on their own terms, choosing you out of something that feels like real preference, that is not small. That is something a dog cannot give you. Because a dog's response is partly obligation, a cat's response is entirely choice. You cannot demand that choice. You cannot train it out of them like a reflex. You can only build the conditions where choosing you makes sense to them, where your call carries warmth, where your presence means safety, where coming toward you feels like their idea. Your cat hears you every time you call their name, every single time. The question was never whether they could respond. The question is whether you have given them a reason to. And now you know how.